Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different than I usually talk about. Today I'm going to be talking about running. So if you guys have been following my channel for at least a few months now, you would know that I recently ran my first marathon back in the end of April. Honestly, it was awesome. It was such a great experience. I will definitely run another marathon, probably in the somewhat near future. I just really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend anyone who has, even the slightest interest in running to set that as a goal someday. Run a marathon, because it really does change the way you view running, and I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to get up and run another one the next day. I have received a lot of questions about running and mainly requests for me to do a video on my tips, or if you're a beginner, how to get started with running, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to be sharing with you my top 3 tips to get started with running. Whether you are a complete beginner, you've never run before in your life, or you are someone who has kind of dabbled in running but maybe never got serious about it, or ever did it really consistently, this video is for you, and I'm going to be sharing with you my top 3 tips on how to get started.
Take me higher, higher than I've ever been. We can.
So my very first tip is the most important, and that is buy a pair of good shoes. If you are going to start any kind of running journey where you're going to be running consistently or more than you've ever run in your life, you need to get a good pair of shoes that are going to support your feet. And when I mean support your feet, you need to get this specific type of shoes that will support whatever your body needs. Everyone's gait is different, everyone runs a little differently, everyone puts pressure on different parts of their feet. So everyone needs not necessarily a custom pair of shoes, but you just need the right shoes for you. Now, in order to find the right pair of shoes for you, you need to go to an actual running store. I don't mean going to, the nearest Foot Locker or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever it is, going to that big old wall of sneakers and picking out the prettiest or the brightest or the coolest looking pair. That is not the right way to find the right pair of shoes for you. Don't make that mistake. I know it's enticing, they may be even a little bit cheaper if you go that route, but just don't do it. If you're going to run consistently, you need a good pair of shoes that's going to support your body and what it needs. When you go to a running store, the people that work there will actually have you walk, whether it be just down the aisle or on a treadmill or whatever, and they will watch your feet, they will watch the way that you walk and see how your feet land on the ground, and then they will recommend certain pairs of shoes for you. It's just going to help you maintain a proper form, it's going to help you avoid injury, it's just really important. So do not skip this step, it is the most important, it's so crucial, get a good pair of shoes. My second tip for getting started with running is sign up for a race. Whether it's a 5K or a 10K, a half marathon, full marathon, whatever it is, pick something that's going to be challenging for you and just do it. Look up the races that are in your area, or even, if you want to travel to a new city, if that's something that excites you and will get you excited about the race, then do it. You can sign up for pretty much every race online these days, and trust me, they are worth the money and a great way to get started in running, and here's why. By signing up for a race, it will give you a concrete goal to work towards, and it will also really motivate you because you know that that's looming over your head and that's coming day by day. You get closer and closer. So it's definitely a way to get motivated. It pretty much just forces you to start running, whether you like it or you don't. If you want to be successful and you want to feel great during the race, you kind of have to follow that training program. It doesn't really give you an option to be like spotty with your running. You just have to do it and you have to get consistent. So it's a really, really great way to get started. And like I said, it can be any kind of distance, anything that you think is going to be challenging for you and where you're at physically right now. Just sign up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good experience and you're going to learn from it regardless. You may learn that you hate running and you never want to try it again, and that's okay. Or you may learn that, hey, this actually isn't so bad. Maybe I should go for a longer distance next time. And what I would recommend to you guys as far as training guides, there are a million out there, but the one that I like to use and millions of people use is the Hal Higdon guides. I will link it down below, but they're extremely popular. If you type in like marathon training guide, it's always like the first one that comes up on Google. Tons and tons of people have used them. And what's great about the Hal Higdon guides is they have different levels. So like a novice 1, a novice 2, intermediate, so on and so forth. I'm It might just be half marathon and marathon. I'm honestly not sure. Those are the only ones I've ever looked at for his guides. But there may be shorter ones, I don't know. But you guys can look into that. They are great training guides if they're free, and it breaks it down week by week, you know, every run you should be doing and how you stay on schedule and on track and really get in shape for the race that you signed up for.
Give me something I won't forget. All I want is an adventure.
Longer distances like half marathons and especially marathons may sound really scary and daunting, but if you are at all interested in running, I would highly, highly recommend you do it. It all comes down to science. So when you run, your body uses different things to fuel itself. So for the first like 20 to 30 minutes or so, your body is running on stored glycogen, which is basically just glucose or sugar that's stored in your muscles. And that is, you know, fuels your body all day long. But so when you engage in, you know, moderate to intense physical activity, you're going to burn through that glycogen within probably the first 20 to 30 minutes. Usually by 30 minutes it's completely gone. And once you burn through all of that glycogen, after about 30 minutes or so, your body will switch into what's called beta oxidation, which is basically just fat burning. So your body will start using your stored fat in your body as its primary fuel source. Now, beta oxidation, or fat burning for energy, is much, much more efficient. You get so much more energy out of, you know, 1 gram of fat than you would 1 gram of glucose. So your body becomes just more efficient in general, and you feel much better. You're not running out of breath as much, you feel like you can just keep going, and you kind of reach that like runner's high. And that's all it is. It's when you switch into that beta oxidation. So you could have been running your whole life and only running, you know, 2, 3, even 4 miles every time you run. You may have just never really experienced that awesome, you know, efficient fat burning situation happening when you go into beta oxidation. Now you may be thinking, well, yeah, when I start off my runs I don't feel very good, but by the end I feel great. It's probably because you've reached beta oxidation. So basically my whole point from this is whether you've, you know, always kind of had an interest in running and just never ran that far, or maybe you're brand new to running and you're now just getting interested in it, try some longer runs. Even if you don't want to sign up for a half marathon or a marathon, whatever, throw in some longer runs into your, you know, weekly exercise routine and see how it feels. It really, really did change the way I looked at running.
Something I won't forget. All I want is an adventure.
My third and final tip for this video is pretty simple, but it's also extremely important, and that is consistency. To be successful with running and really start to enjoy it, consistency is so key. And again, it pretty much comes down to science. Your myocardial cells, which are basically your heart cells, they turn over, meaning they die and new cells are reborn, every 3 days, which is extremely, extremely fast. So if you take like 3 to 4 days off from running, that third or fourth day that you go back out for a run is going to feel a lot more difficult because so many of your heart cells just aren't conditioned to do that. So of course rest days are extremely important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take rest days. When I did my marathon training, I took 2 rest days every week. But try your best to not take, you know, 2, 3, 4 days off at a time. You're only going to be hurting yourself in the end. And again, that's why signing up for races are so great, because it kind of motivates you and forces you to stay consistent, because not only do you have a training guide laid out for you, but you do have this huge goal you're working towards. So on the days that you really just don't feel like running, you know, you'll be more motivated because you know you have this big race looming over you. And one more thing, just along with being consistent, in order to be able to stay motivated and want to continue with your runs, it's really important to go your own pace. It really could be a whole top tip in itself. There's a lot of pressure on like half marathon times, marathon times, being a fast runner, and some people just aren't born that way. Of course you can train your body to get faster and faster, but it takes a lot more work than just training for a marathon. I really don't run fast, and I am 100% okay with that. My marathon time was, I think, 4 hours and 34 minutes. My main goal for signing up and completing this marathon was just to crush it. And for me, that meant to run all 26 miles feeling like a rock star. And that's exactly how I felt. I may not have been going, you know, the fastest in the world, but I had a great time and I felt good every single mile. So instead of killing yourself and trying to get this, like, you know, fast time that society thinks is acceptable, who cares? Throw that all out the window. You're only competing with yourself. And if your main goal is just to feel amazing throughout the whole thing and be like dancing at mile 25, then go your own pace and don't care what anyone else thinks. So that is all I have for this video. I hope that you guys learned something from it and that you enjoyed it. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it, or maybe if you are going to challenge yourself with a new race in the future. Please subscribe if you guys haven't already. It means so much to me and I really appreciate every last subscriber. Thank you guys so much for watching this video right now, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! So these are my wedding shoes. They are totally business in the front, and then they are party in the back. They are just very simple, classic, like lunch tops.